What's up, Wolverine fans? Jack here, another episode of the Big and Bold. And boy, is it good to be a Wolverine. Michigan finally did it for the first time since 2011, knocked off the Buckeyes in what I think was probably the biggest win for Michigan of at least the last 20 years. Not only did they beat Ohio State after a serious drought in the rivalry, and not only did it have implications for the Big Ten, Michigan now winning the East and playing in the Big Ten title game, but Michigan is now becoming a favorite to be in the playoff. They get past Iowa this weekend in the Big Ten title game, and they are in the playoff. That is guaranteed. So this was a massive win for Michigan, a massive win for Jim Harbaugh, getting his first win against Ohio State and a win against a top 5 team as an underdog, which is something he does not do. So all is essentially forgiven for losing to Michigan State on the road in a pretty fluky game. But let's look at this game. Let's break it down a little bit. Offense, defense, what Ohio State did wrong, the incredible game plan that Michigan had walking in. I had my keys to victory, and Michigan actually did stay fairly close to those, but they did some things really surprising on defense that I don't think Ohio State expected, and that I certainly didn't expect. So let's break it down. Let's get into the offense real quick, because I actually really want to talk about the defense. But Michigan offensively, let's just look at their first touchdown. Everyone wants to talk about Hassan Haskins, as we should. He had 169 yards and 5 touchdowns. They took the life out of Ohio State over the course of the game, running the football. Michigan took down the best offense in college football, running the ball and playing good defense, with a first-year defensive coordinator, I might add. But Michigan dominates the game 42-27, and I want to look at that very first touchdown Michigan scored. They orchestrated a really good drive moving down the field. Mind you, Donovan Edwards is in the lineup. He caught 10 passes last week against Maryland. You could tell Ohio State was ready to try and defend that mismatch, because it's a real mismatch out of the backfield. Donovan Edwards goes wide to the sideline, and Cade McNamara is seemingly about to get him the ball. They're in the red zone. Donovan Edwards has a blocker. It's a pump fake. And McNamara hands the ball off to A.J. Henning, misdirection jet sweep, 14-yard touchdown run. These jet sweeps were something that Michigan's been running all season, but that in particular was actually something of genius, because you could tell that they were planning on that first drive going exactly the way it did. Faking out Ohio State with a pass to Donovan Edwards, handing it off to A.J. Henning, who's got wheels, and he took it in for the touchdown. It was an incredible drive. But again, Hassan Haskins is the real MVP here. 5 rushing touchdowns against Ohio State, ties their record for rushing touchdowns in a game by a Michigan Wolverine running back. Incredible performance. Hassan Haskins is most definitely the offensive MVP, not just for this game, but for the entire season. I thought he was going to have a good game. I didn't think he was going to have this good a game. That is a historic performance, and Ohio State will remember the name Hassan Haskins. I think like they do Tim Biakabatuka. In credit to the Michigan offensive line, they brought in Sherrone Moore to coach the offensive line and tight ends this year. First time doing so, and I was really concerned for the offensive line this season. But it has been an absolute strength. They leaned against Ohio State the entire game, and by the end of it, they just couldn't keep up. They were trying to rotate in different defenders. Just nothing was working for them to stop the run game for Michigan. And they did it with some big runs as well. That's kind of the next thing I want to talk about offensively, was big plays. Michigan needed long, methodical, thought-out drives to eat up clock and get down the field and finish those drives with touchdowns. Not only did they do that, but they were able to score those big plays because they were bringing Ohio State in to force them to stop the run, and the run game was working. You could take Roman Wilson's 31-yard catch. You could take Cornelius Johnson's 37-yard catch. Mike Sainristil's 34-yard catch is only catch of the game. Michigan did not have a great day passing the ball. 190 yards and an interception on the day is not a good day throwing the football. And if you showed me that stat line, I would probably assume Michigan lost the game. But J.J. McCarthy came in for his only pass, threw a 31-yard dime to Roman Wilson. Cade McNamara had 1 or 2 fantastic throws in the game. Specifically his pass to Cornelius Johnson. Cade McNamara has this issue of, he knows where he wants to go with the ball before the snap. He is not a good quarterback at post-snap adjustments with the ball. But he saw one-on-one coverage, Cornelius Johnson, man coverage. He said, I'm going to get that ball up there. And that got them to the goal line. Fantastic throw, fantastic catch by Cornelius Johnson. And that issue that Cade has of knowing where he wants to go with the football before the snap caused his interception at the beginning of the game. Michigan was up 7. I thought they were about to go up 14. They're in the red zone. Passing play, they get aggressive, which is something I wanted to see. I wanted to see Michigan get aggressive with their play calling in the red zone, but Cade throws it into basically triple coverage. He throws it towards 3 Ohio State defenders. Gets picked off. He totally missed an open receiver on the right and left side of the field, but it's fine. At that point, I thought Michigan was screwed. I truly did. I thought, well, that's it. They sucked the life right out of me, but not out of the team. The team kept it up. They kept their foot on the gas, and they didn't give up, even when they were down on the scoreboard. But we'll talk about that closer to the end of the video when we go over it as a whole. But overall, great job by the offensive play calling. Passing game does make me a little nervous because Michigan is what it is at this point. We know what they are, and we know what Cade McNamara is at this point. But when the defense and run game is operating at a high level, you can get away with that. So Cade did not have a great day throwing the ball. Conditions weren't perfect for it. It was a snowy game. Very cold game. Still, he made those 3 or 4 throws he needed to make for Michigan to win this football game. So at the end of the day, that's maybe all you can ask for is 3 or 4 throws that he needs to make. And then let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. And Mike Macdonald has probably earned himself a payday because of this game. Holding the best offense in college football to 27 points is one thing. But it wasn't just holding them to 27 points. They only had 20 walking into the fourth quarter, 13 at the end of the first half. What Michigan did on defense really surprised me. And it was the amount of man coverage that Michigan was employing in this game. Because they were going to blitz CJ Stroud and play tough man coverage. They were going to get pressure in his face and make him throw into tight windows. Sometimes there were holes in the Michigan zone. Sometimes guys were getting beat. But at the end of the day, they trusted their defense to get stops when they needed it. And when Michigan had pressure in C.J. Stroud's face, the offense collapsed. It was as simple as that. They couldn't operate efficiently with pressure in their face. Michigan defensively harassed and pummeled C.J. Stroud. 4 sacks, multiple QB hurries, phenomenal game. And you got to talk about Aiden Hutchinson's 3-sack performance. Aiden Hutchinson is now the single season sack leader for the University of Michigan. Phenomenal performance, phenomenal season. He is a leader for this defense and a leader for this team. And he is going to be drafted very high into the NFL. And I think he's the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Personally, I think he should be in the Heisman conversation. But he's probably the most impactful defender since Charles Woodson, just to kind of reference back to that 97 season. The impact he had on this game was incredible. Because without that pass rush, without those 3 sacks, without getting pressure on C.J. Stroud, Ohio State puts up more points, I'm telling you. Their offense is phenomenal when C.J. Stroud can stand there and find the open man. They have too good of weapons to not get in his face. And Michigan didn't even have to necessarily blitz. They'd send 4 guys, 2 D linemen, 2 edge rushers. But when you have the best edge rushers in college football, you can get away with sending 4. And if they want, they'll mix in 5. Incredible performance. David Ojabo himself had a sack on the game. Just an overall incredible performance by the defense. And when Ohio State tried to hurt Michigan for playing man coverage with crossing routes, Michigan was defending the middle of the field and they weren't giving it up. They did an incredible job defensively. Fantastic job by Mike Macdonald. You'd never guess that he was a first-year play caller. So ultimately, fantastic game plan, fantastic execution. Michigan did all the things they needed to do. Run the ball, get pressure on the quarterback, cap off drives with touchdowns. Jake Moody didn't have to hit a single field goal in the game. I'm shocked. I'm impressed. I love this team. I love a team that runs the ball and gets to the quarterback. And it's okay if you were overly critical after the Michigan State game, because you should have been. But, like I said, hey, Michigan's about to play for a Big Ten title, and very well may make it to the playoffs. So let's look at Ohio State for a minute. We talked about the offense, talked about the defense, talked about the great game plan Michigan had. It wasn't only that. It's a lot of that. But the stars aligned in this game. And something that I was really surprised by was the penalties. I counted 5 false starts by the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes had 10 penalties for 66 yards. Michigan had 2 for 20. And a lot of that is the crowd effect. I've seen some Buckeyes out there trying to talk about the refs not giving them a fair shot. The refs had nothing to do with 5 false start penalties, okay? Just a little undisciplined. Really hurt them, though, down the stretch. Those penalties really, really got the Buckeyes. And that was something I talked about in my preview, was that Michigan might need some love from the officiating. And they're going to need some undisciplined play from the Buckeyes to win this game, and they got it. They were a heavily penalized team that won the time of possession battle. They ran just as many plays as Michigan did, but actually ran more plays than Michigan did. Picked up just as many first downs. But their third down efficiency wasn't there. And really the thing that kept them in the game was their incredible wide receiver play. Smith and Jigba had some crazy catches in that game. 11 catches for 127 yards. Garrett Wilson, 10 catches. That's really what kept the Buckeyes in it, was just incredible catches by their wide receivers, keeping them in the game, converting fourth downs. That just kept them in it. But they really didn't come close to winning it in the second half. And that was when I took a kind of a deep breath and said, Michigan can win this. Was when Michigan came into the second half, stopped Ohio State on defense. Because I was ready for Michigan to get outplayed in the second half. As they did against Michigan State, that caused them to lose the game. As they did against Nebraska and Rutgers to close those games up. But that's not how it happened. Michigan got the stop on defense. And they responded with big plays on offense on the ground to get another touchdown to extend their lead. So Michigan didn't win how I thought they were going to. Not that I thought they were going to win, but if they did win, I thought it was going to be with long, methodical, thought-out drives, capping them with touchdowns, great defensive play with the pass rush. I thought those things were going to happen, but when Ohio State picked up that 3-point lead in the first quarter, when Michigan threw that interception in the beginning of the game, when Ohio State started orchestrating drives in the second half to get it within a score, I was really nervous for the Wolverines, but they kept responding. The run game never let up, the pass rush never let up, and Ohio State just couldn't respond. This was an iconic win for Michigan, an iconic win for Jim Harbaugh. And now we get to say Michigan is going to be playing in the Big Ten championship game. So at the end of the day, guys, that's kind of my quick little breakdown there. I don't want to beat this one to death because it was an incredible win. There was a lot to love, a little bit I didn't like, but at the end of the day, incredible performance by the Wolverines. Remember where you were when you watched this game. Hopefully you watched it because this was historic. And I think I'm going to leave you with one image from this game to remember, I think it's Hassan Haskins literally walking into the end zone untouched for his 5th touchdown of the game. That's going to be burning in my head. The sight of him walking into the end zone on a goal line run, essentially, or at least a red zone run, and getting that 5th touchdown. So, thank you for listening, everybody. This was an amazing game. I can't wait to do my breakdown of the upcoming Big Ten title game. Michigan will be playing Iowa this Saturday. Michigan is the favorite, but of course you have to be careful with Iowa because Iowa would love to spoil Michigan's season. They've done it before. They've done it to multiple teams. So a little preview of that game is going to be coming up. Thank you for listening, everyone. Like I said, please like and subscribe, and go Blue.